Corruptors to deal with any Colossus that we might see on the field, and we actually see 4 Colossus on the field.
With
So,
the Thermal Lance upgrade just finishing right now, I do want to throw in there, so that's going to be quite useful against those
right.
Hydras.
But, I mean, he does have the Corruptors, which is pretty much the perfect counter. He's got quite a few. He's got, I think, 7. Yes, he has 7 at the moment, and he's producing 2 more, and there goes the Greater Spire. So we are going to see some Broodlords eventually. A big army moving out the back here. They're going to start destroying these rocks. I think Idra might notice at this point that these rocks are getting destroyed. I would hope he notices, because this can be a pretty hard army to deal with if you're not prepared for it.
Yeah, we'll
Maybe
see
he
if...
doesn't notice it.
Looks
oh,
like,
now
no,
he does
there
notice
comes
it.
the armor. We're going to have an engagement here. We'll see if he manages to snipe this hatchery. No, the reinforcements do get in here too quickly. Huck does see that, and he wisely backs out, saving his Colossus from this massive stalker. He just did not have the right positioning or anything to come out even remotely victorious in that battle, so it was a very good call for him to pull back there.
Right, I definitely agree with that call. There was no way that he was going to be able to save that army. I mean, it's just a huge differential. I mean, especially with that Greater Spire, I really don't see how Huck's going to come out of this one. He just left Idra untouched for too long, and his macro started kicking in, which is the great thing about Idra. That's why I like him as a player. So he's going to bring in these Colossus and do kind of a little bit of shooting, and these Corruptors are a little bit out of position here, so they weren't able to take any shots at all.
Yeah, a lot of them are actually morphing into Broodlords right now. It looks like we have 4 of them going, so we'll have some Broodlords out, and those are also going to be helpful to deal with this entire army, really, especially if you can keep them towards the back and shoot down the ramp there. That will be able to do a lot of damage. So yeah, I bring this Colossus up, getting a few more shots off, not actually killing anything, and here come the Broodlords.
Oh, man. Broodlord, Roach, Hydra, Corruptor. I mean, that just sounds bad. We do have the Templar Archives going up, and I just don't think he's going to be up in time at all. It's just kind of this standstill. He doesn't want to move these too far. Blink is finished now.
That is actually going to be very useful against the Broodlords. It's going to be very helpful for dodging out of the way of the Broodlings, getting right underneath the Broodlords, getting extra shots on them. So Blink is exactly what he needs for his Stalkers right now. Good call.
Right, he's got to warp those some more in. We do see some more warping in right now, and he's going to probably try and blink up here and do some damage. He's got to blink. There goes the blink. Shooting one. Kills one. Okay, so he gets one there, which was a little bit of a miss.
We do have some more Stalkers warping in here, and we'll see if he manages to snipe another one. And it looks like, yes, another Broodlord does go down, so he is able to get 2 Broodlords off there. And if we look at the units lost tab, Huck is behind a little bit, but not by too much, actually. It's 3,550 for Idra versus 3,800 for Huck. And these Broodlords are now actually going to start shooting in these cannons. Another very nice blink going down, and he is able to snipe yet another Broodlord, but now this entire army is threatening to advance here. Luckily for Idra, he is able to just keep harassing the edge of this base here with the Broodlords. And now we do have a large engagement going on here. All these Riches and Hydras attacking from the high ground. Huck blinking his Stalkers up, it is going to put them right in the range of these Spine Crawlers, and it just doesn't look like he's going to be able to have enough here. The Colossus shooting from the low ground, but he is going to be forced back down, blinking his Stalkers out there, managing to save them, but he does not have enough to break through that wall at this point in time.
Yeah, I mean, he just has so many Colossus. He's got 8 Colossus lined up here.
Yeah,
and there's just
to be honest, though, I'm not sure that's what he needs. He really needs to get some more beefy units to stand in front and take the damage from the Roaches and the Hydras, because the Colossus are good, but to an army of that size, they're going to go down pretty quickly, so he really needs something to just tank the damage for the Colossus there.
Right, if those Colossus can get off just a couple of shots, they're really going to devastate this army. It's almost unbelievable how fast this army would melt, and just more Broodlords on the way, and I definitely think he should get some Corruptors in this mix. He's using all of his Corruptors for Broodlords, and I don't 100% agree with that. I think he should at least have a couple to start shooting down, make the Stalkers focus on the Corruptors instead of the Broodlords.
Yeah, don't know exactly. I mean, on the one hand, the Corruptors are going to do more damage, but on the other hand, the Broodlords do have more overall usage, so leaving a few Corruptors probably wouldn't be a bad call, but at the same time, the Broodlords are also going to be very effective here. They are continuing to just shoot away at these cannons, slowly whittling them down. And another blink, he is able to snipe one more Broodlord and gets another one as well, so 2 more Broodlords going down there. And if we keep looking at the units lost tab, they are actually exactly tied right now. So this strategy is actually hurting Idra a little bit. Huck is managing to catch up here.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, he's just definitely destroying these broodlords just because they're not getting backed up. He's trying to he's just kind of like throwing broodlords away at these stalkers and stuff. He can engage in this position just because one sentry would be able to force field it off, and I mean, he would be stuck with half his army on one side. So it does look like he's going to start kind of pushing down, but then again, he's just going to retreat. So he's playing a little bit too passively.
Yeah, this is one thing I would say about EGIdra that I think we've seen before is he gets into a strategy and he just sticks with it. We've seen this happen in a couple games before, and right now this Broodlord strategy is just really not working out for him, but he's continuing to just try to brute force his way through here. And he really does need to adapt his build a little bit more, adapt his strategy if he wants to have a chance in this, because if he continues the way things are going right now, he's just not going to have enough. I think what he might be trying to do is just macro up his ground forces while the Broodlords act as a distraction, but... Oh, we actually have some Stalkers blinking up here. Once again, Psystorm's going down on the entire army, and that is just going to tear them to pieces. So much damage. I'm going to put health bars on here if I can find my alt key. Yeah, we have these Colossus. Between the Colossus and the Psystorms, a huge part of the army just died there. And now it is 17,350 minerals for EGIdra versus 15,600 for Huck in terms of units lost. Or resources lost, rather. So that was just a critical junction, I think. And at that point, Huck really... He has pulled into a rather commanding lead now at this point.
Yeah, I mean, he's just continuing to do this harassment. It's not really working. He is only running off 2 base, so his income is going to be slightly behind EGIdra's. So he's not going to have enough really to continue resupplying this army that he's using up very quickly.
Yeah, he is doing a good amount of damage, but like you said, EGIdra is just going to be able to sustain this longer. He's going to be able to stay ahead, and he is going to be able to keep up with this, whereas eventually Huck's just going to burn out at this rate. Although, at the same time, Huck isn't losing nearly as many resources as EGIdra is, so he has less of a need to continuously reinforce his army here. And I mean, he is doing it, which is obviously good, but if he were to just keep this army as he has it now, I think he would be able to hold off for a fairly long time, because he is not losing very many units and is able to snipe 2 or 3 Broodlords in every single attack.
We have a nice little Zergling burrowed. If you look up at the expansion that Huck is trying to take, it's burrowed in a position where he won't be able to actually drop the expansion.
Yep.
So he's going to actually have to bring over a scouting unit to go deal with that, which is kind of unfortunate. A couple roaches actually going to come over and maybe intercept a ton of probes here if he gets unlucky.
Do actually have all of these Colossus moving out, though. They are going to snipe those roaches. His entire army did move, so now the back of his expansion is left fairly open. These Broodlords are going to come in, and finally they're going to have the free reign that they have wanted for so long. So they're going to start beating away at this expansion. We'll see if he manages to take that out. And we do have some more Broodlords going to the top of the map. Meanwhile, Huck is bringing his army in from the back here. EGIdra is going to see that on the way because of the creep highway. These Overlords are going to come in from the side while the main army comes in from the front. Nice blink there to keep his units back a little bit, prevent the damage from getting too high. And he is going to get quite a few units there with the Colossus. Not able to snipe any Broodlords, but that was a very nice flank there by EGIdra to kind of surround that army. And we have a ton of probes long distance mining here. Wow.
Oh man, it's just like a huge train going on.
Just look on the mini-map, it's just this blue line.
And there's one little Zergling just waiting to pop up, waiting for that army.
Here comes the rage. Wonder what this game would be like if Protoss units cost money. Not his fault that you're just throwing your units away and he's actually preserving them, EGIdra. I'm sorry to say.
Oh man, I'd like to point out when that encounter did go on, yes, it was a nice flank with those Broodlords, but there just wasn't enough Broodlords to actually do enough damage.
True. So we have another big engagement here. Psystorms everywhere, EGIdra raffling for some reason or other, and a lot of little Colossus lasers going down, burning this army in two, and he is just getting... Oh, these units are just getting torn apart. Even blinking the Stalkers onto the high ground there to snipe that Broodlord. EGIdra saying something that the chat filter has blocked, and then leaving the game.
Oh man.
Oh, EGIdra.
Funny guy. I mean, I have to give it to Huck in this game. I definitely thought he'd let EGIdra expand just too much to deal with, but again, he just kept his expansions. He played defensively, let EGIdra expand as much as he wanted, and EGIdra really didn't expand as much as I expected. I would have at least expected him to take that 12 o'clock position expansion at the least, and really he just didn't keep Huck on the two bases mining that he was on. So he had pretty much mined out this 6 o'clock position, and he had started to work on the one just above that, and he'd just now gotten up that new expansion. So if EGIdra had been able to keep him on just two base, there would have been no way Huck could keep supporting this army. And as you can see, he only has a couple stalkers left, and then all these colossus. So at that point, he was just running out of army units.
Yeah, I mean, I've said this before, I will say it again. I really do think EGIdra just needed to adapt his build earlier instead of just continuing to try to force his way in with the Broodlords. He just was unwilling to adapt a strategy there, and it was his undoing.
Right, I completely agree with you. So I hope you guys enjoyed this little showmanship match we brought for you today. And
before you
subscribe.
end, I just have to draw attention to this very nice scene of carnage ensuing here as the game ends right as these Colossus lasers are burning a large mob of Hydras to death. This is this as my background, kind of, actually. I think I might screenshot this if I can find my print screen. There we go.
And there you have it,
no,
folks.
apparently StarCraft doesn't do screenshots. That's disappointing. I did manage to break my game, though. 0 FPS. Alright, we're going to sign off before anything dies too terribly.
Alright, so I hope you guys enjoyed this. Subscribe to the channel if you haven't already, and talk to you guys later, I guess.
Peace out.